each teacher who works in practice knows you have to, in the beginning of the year, really set a certain foundation of respect and teach the culture you have in the classroom. So in the beginning, especially as we were using also technology in the beginning, I truly tried to get to know each and every one of them personally, on a personal level, tried to get to know which languages they speak. As soon as possible, got to know their parents to see if they have any particular needs. I do think that interculturality or intercultural awareness or diversity is mainly character building. It develops things like empathy, but also respect and understanding and appreciation for other cultures. I think it really allows us, if we teach in this way, to develop the four C's, so to speak, 21st century learning, which is communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. And these are the main competencies that have been identified by experts that will be needed now actually as well in the workplace, but also even more in the future. And the reason why cultural diversity or intercultural competence is just it's perfect for the developing these competencies is because it allows us to explore, to research, to individualize, to personalize the learning journey of the students, and to have them interact with each other and also with the outside world. And that is what is so exciting about using technology as well, to support the learning, because we can really connect with the outside world and extend the classroom in ways that we could not before to develop these competencies, these four.
And in the end, I think I will make the pupils understand that we cannot convince the others if they have a certain moralic way of thinking, and that we cannot understand everything, and it's not necessary to understand everything. We have our own ideas, but we have also to accept the other ideas. And if it's too difficult, we have to take a little bit of humor and laugh about it, but we cannot change everybody. And I think even if in this class were pupils, all Catholic pupils and all Viennese pupils, we would have a very similar discussion. It's a very personal thing. It's not, first of all, a intercultural problem. And so I think the first way also in intercultural teaching is to make the pupils find out that the classmate between me in my class also has his own ideas, and maybe he's much different to a new arrived pupil from somewhere else.
But I think that empathy can be really supported or taught or developed if we help them or lead them, create situations where they have to work together towards a common goal. Yeah, you can do that in a project-based learning. For example, you can say, we have a project, we'd like to have a website, a web blog, a class blog. Why don't you, for example, everybody has an assignment, find a refugee story of a child in your age group and write a report on this person and post it on the blog, for example, yeah? Or use the experience and tell people in the class about it. Or you can, for example, use historical figures, what kinds of experiences they had. I had an example of a child in this year. She read about Anne Frank. Anne Frank is, of course, a universal story. A lot of people know the story, but she had not heard about Anne Frank before, and she was really quite excited to delve into her story and to learn about what she went through, because she was a girl in her age and she was going through different things, but still it was a really great way to teach her to think about others. I think that is one of the really great lessons we can give as teachers. Think about others. What do other children go through? What experience do they have that are similar or not similar to yours? And I think that's a really great way to teach empathy and to show respect and to show appreciation. I think it's important to encourage the dialogue. It's really important to talk about it. Yeah, you can even create a debate. You can say, okay, why don't you let's try to assume that we have this kind of attitude. Have a debate. Who is for this side, who is for that side, and create a debate. Also teach them how to debate, or how to give feedback, or how to express their opinion. Maybe look for arguments. What are the arguments for? What are the arguments against? I think we are moving away from a good society if we discourage dialogue. We have to encourage dialogue, even if the dialogue is not something that we are comfortable with. I think the only way to combat racism or extreme right views is to really encourage people to know, to see, to confront each other with dialogue. So I think as a teacher, it's important to do this. I think the best way is to separate, it depends on the situation, but communication is key. So it has to be, you have to make an intervention quite early on. You can't leave the situation at all. So for example, I did have, what happens quite often is when children say bad words, yeah? They test the limits. So they would maybe say the N word, yeah? And then you have to take them apart and say, okay, do you know what that means? You know why we don't say it? To really make sure that you get a one-on-one communication so they can understand why this behavior is not okay for the class. And then maybe if it's necessary, talk about it with the whole class. I think it's important to stop it in the beginning and to say, okay, these are the rules for my class. This is not allowed because, yeah. And if it's really, it will help if they could see some stories or experience a film or some kind of museum experience or some kind of group building or team building experience to counteract any negative feelings. It's really important to strengthen the group in that case, yeah, to create these situations where they have to work together, where they have to be with each other, because this is the way it is. All of us have to work with other people. This is reality. And some people we may like, some people we may not like. This is a really important life skill that they have to learn, yeah, to get how to learn to live with other people. So I think it's a great place. School is an ideal place to learn this.